excited to introduce our speaker for tonight, Yvonne McBarnett, better known as Miss Smiley. She joined the Montserrat office as the manager in August of 2015 after several years as an assistant director in alumni relations. Her journey at Boston College began at the Thea Bowman Ahana Center, Intercultural Center as an administrative assistant. In 2006, Miss Smiley earned her Bachelor of Science degree from BC and then proceeded to earn her master's in 2009, also from BC, making her a double eagle. The Montserrat office, which Miss Smiley leads, is an office dedicated to serving students from low-income and high-need households. Montserrat cultivates a sense of community, family, and belonging on campus, while also catering to the financial needs of the students that it serves. In my experience, Montserrat, and more specifically, Miss Smiley, has helped me to feel seen on this campus. When I enter the Montserrat office on College Road, I instantly feel welcomed. I'm not just another student, I'm recognized as Leah. Miss Smiley's charisma and her mission on campus to make BC home for all of us has helped me and countless other students embrace who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up the wonderful Miss Smiley.
This is supposed to be Bruno Mars. Is this Bruno Mars? 24 karat? I want 24 karat. How's everybody doing tonight? Y'all better talk to me. We've got a whole half an hour together, so y'all gonna talk to me tonight. I was originally born and raised in London, England, and this is my tea time. So we're gonna talk a little bit. I'm gonna drink some tea. We're gonna have some fun, and we're going to laugh, right? Right. Do I have any birthdays out there today? Tonight. Valentine's coming up. Any birthdays? Anybody stressing? Of course you are. Anybody stressing over there? Of course you are. So tonight is a night that I'm excited about because I get to be authentic and I get to talk about, did you find Bruno Mars? Yes, I do want it. Bruno Mars is my cousin. And of course you're gullible. You're thinking, is that really so? The reason why I'm choosing this song is because when I heard this song, I said to my husband, this has to mean a lot to you and to me. Now, on our downtime, my husband and I dance to this. So I needed to be played before I started because he can't come tonight because he's working. So I told him that I would play his favorite song to get us started. So if you see Mrs. Smiley on campus, this is our song, okay? All right, there we go. All right, there we go. So I just want to let you know that not only can I speak, but I can dance. So at the end of my talk, if anybody wants to have a dance-off, let's do it. We got enough space. So here I am tonight to talk about my journey. And I believe the flyer did say something about the crazy thing called love. And as I was, reminiscing and I was sharing with my husband, he says, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to relive the journey of my love story that happened. We're going to be married for 25 years in May. So I have to go back in time and kind of relive what we did and how we transitioned from being friends to lovers. So here we are. Listen. And my intent of this whole session tonight is that two people are willing to get married, get hooked up, get engaged. I don't care what you do, but let me know because I'm planning on being a reverend sometime soon. So I would definitely officiate your wedding. I'm here, I will do it. I'm not only Miss Smiley, but I can do whatever. I can wear different hats. So after we finish with this tonight, just walk up here and say, I'm ready, and we can do this. I'm part of campus ministry, so I'm more closer to Jesus than you are, so we can make this happen. We can definitely make this happen, all right? So my journey started much years ago, and how I met my husband was, I was a singer before I worked in the banking field and insurance. I sang with three guys and myself, so we were called comforters, so it was more like Gladys Knight and the kind of thing, for those that know Gladys Knight and the Pips. I was the female that kind of led the guys and did a lot of singing. So we were performing at a Valentine's concert. So how appropriate is this for me tonight? So if you see me getting emotional, it's because I just, kind of thought back on how I was when I was younger, much smaller and more sexy. I had brown hair, it was spiked, and I was Miss Diva back then. I'm still Miss Diva now, so y'all don't get it twisted. So I was singing at a concert, and the song that I was singing was Endless Love. And I was performing with one of the guys in the group, and as we were singing, when you're performing, you're not just standing there, you're singing to each other and the love and, you're showing off, and because I'm a performer, I can do well with that. So as we were singing, after we sung that song, we broke down for a little bit for a break, and one of the guys came to me and he said, someone here just inquired about you. And I looked at him and I said, well, I came single, and you're damn skippy, I'm not going home by myself. And I'm supposed to be a Christian woman, so let's get that straight first. I'm a PK. How many people know what a PK is in this room? What is a PK? Pastor's kids. Am I on live stream? Because I want my daddy looking at this. So I'm a pastor's kid, so that meant I had to live good, look right, and do all the things right. So I told you that I was singing at the concert, and we sang Endless Love, and as we were taking a break, Mark, who's my husband, so every time you hear the name Mark, that's my husband. He went over to one of the guys in the group and he says, hey, buddy, is she married? And Clarence, who's the guy in the group, says, no, man, she's single. This may be your night. So he went back to his seat and we had to continue the show. The show went on, and now the show has been finalized. The show ended, and I'm wrapping up the instruments, getting the mics together, and Clarence comes over to me and he goes, hey, did a person come over to you and ask you if you were, dating or something, or did he just inquire about you? And I was like, no. Room is full of people, and not one person came up to me, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And he goes, no, somebody actually came and inquired. And I said, okay, look in the audience, and at this point, the hall was pretty much empty. Can you tell me which brother came up to you and inquired about me? So he says, yeah, he was really nice looking, dark, slim, handsome. I said, okay. He didn't come up to me, so now I'm packing up, went home by myself, no problem. 3 months later, we had to sing at another engagement. Now it's at a church setting. And we had to sing a couple of songs for a youth convention or whatever it is. And Mark, again, who's Mark? That's my husband. So Mark was doing the emceeing of the program. So he has a mic and he's calling up all of the different people that are going to be performing that night. And I said to Clarence, bro, who is that handsome dude? And he was like, what, who? I said, the MC. He says, oh my God, that's the same guy that asked about you at the Valentine's concert. I said, well, why didn't you tell me? He said, because he left. I said, okay, we're not leaving this event tonight until I get his name, number, where he lives, and his social security number. We're not doing that. He was like, let's see. So through, the programs continued, and then we had to break down and leave because we had another gig. I did a lot of singing in my day. So when the manager came over and he says, we've got to go, and I was like, no, we can't go now. We've got to sing a couple of songs. He says, no, we've got to go to New Hampshire to sing. I was like, those people in New Hampshire don't need us. We got to sing some more here. And he goes, why? I said, no, there's somebody that I need to meet, and if I leave now, I'm not going to meet him. He says, no, we got to pack up and we've got to go. So I said to Clarence, I said, see, now I'm not going to be able to meet this guy. He was like, Yvonne, don't worry about it, blah, 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 blah. So 3 times. So this is the second time that I was supposed to meet this famous Mark and didn't get the opportunity to do it. 3 months later, here we go again. 3 months later, my director of my church, the youth group, says to me, I need you to call this church to get connected to their youth group so our youth group can come together and have an event. I got this, I can do this. I need you to call Mark X, Y, and Z. I was like, okay, no problem. I'm not thinking that it's the same Mark. I said, sure, I'll make the phone call. So I make the phone call and it says, hi, my name is Yvonne, blah, 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 and I'm calling because my youth director wants me to get in touch with you so we can have this event. He goes, your name is Yvonne? And I says, yeah. He goes, wait a minute, didn't you sing at a Valentine's concert like 6 months ago? And I said, yeah. And he says, didn't you also sing at my church like a couple months ago? And I said, yeah, and who are you? At this point, I had no clue. I didn't remember that there was a Mark because it's been 6 months. And I says, yeah. And I says, and you are? He says, I was the one that was emceeing that program that night. My heart dropped. This is the Mark that I've been waiting for to talk to? And he goes, yeah, this is Mark. And I says, okay, so my director told me to call you, but at that point, we had nothing to say about the event. Now it's more like, so, how have you been? It's been a long time. And I was like, all right, baby, this is my time. Forget about this youth stuff. Now it's on. Let's do this. So I said, you know, I'm being all churchy because, again, I'm a PK. I says, you know, I'm just calling you because my youth director wants me to get in touch with you and we've got to get this program going. And he was like, well, let's talk about, you know, how have you been and how did you get into the singing and da-da-da. So I'm telling him how I got into the singing with the guys. And he goes, it'll be nice if we can, you know, meet up. And I says, well, I'm not sure if I remember what you even look like. It's been like almost like 9 months. I'm not sure about that. He goes, yeah, can we meet up? I would like to meet you. Not only that, maybe take you on a date in the future. And I was like, oh, okay, now it's on. I said, sure. So I said to him, well, near my house, there's a McDonald's. Now remember, I said Miss Smiley is a diva, so I had an MX-6, 2-door, tinted windows, and I had some speakers in the back, so when I drove through the neighborhood, you know I was coming. That's what I did. That's how I rolled back in my day. So I didn't tell him what kind of car I was driving. I says, I will meet you at McDonald's. And if you're the one, I would get out of the car and we can have that conversation. He said, perfect, let's do this. I got to McDonald's. Now it's time to really meet the Mark. I got to McDonald's and there he was in a nice little 2-door car, black. I just drove right by him. The reason why, because I got scared. I said, that's the man, that's the young man that I've seen. Nice gold tee, had a nice little cut. I said, that's him and I don't know how to handle this. I'm getting the hell out of here. I can't say nothing to him right now. So I went in the parking lot, drove by his car. I kind of looked, because my windows are tinted. I looked in the glass, and I looked over, and that was him. I just kept driving. Just kept driving. I went back home. It was about an hour and a half. I got back home, and I started crying, because now I'm getting all anxious, and I'm scared. And I was like, oh, my God, that's him. The butterflies, what do I do? Who do I talk to? I don't know what to do. I'm a PK. I can't talk to my dad because he's going to tell me this is not the time, and I don't want to hear that, so what do I do? Nothing. Just laid in my bed and cried. He calls an hour and a half later. Bing. I said, hello. We didn't have caller ID back then. Y'all are lucky now. We didn't have caller ID, so I'm picking up my phone. I said, hello. He said, hi, this is Mark. He said, is everything okay? I said, yeah, how are you? He says, did you show up at McDonald's? And I didn't know what to say. And he says, hello, did you come to McDonald's? I said, yeah. He says, well, what kind of car were you driving in? I said, well, I was driving in a Mazda MX-6. It was silver. He says, I don't remember seeing that car. I said, no, baby, because I drove too fast. You didn't see me. So I said, yes, I was there, but I didn't know how to handle it, so I kind of left. So he says, well, I'm so sorry that you felt that way. But then he said in a very soft voice, was I the one you were looking for? Do you remember my face? And now my heart's dropping like, yeah, baby, you just don't understand. You were the one. And I said, yes, you are. Very professional. I said, yes, you are. You were the one that I saw in the parking lot. So he goes, well, now that you remember, is there a time, can I take you out? And now it's getting serious. I said, yeah, sure. So it was a month before we actually went out, and he took me out on the first date, and he took me to a steakhouse. And while we was there, he's telling me about his, ministry and how he loves God. And, I'm there as a young woman. It's like, baby, you're just way too cute. I don't want to talk about God right now, but I'm gonna listen to you. And he was there telling me, and I'm saying, yes, that sounds great. And he says, this was great, and we had a nice little evening. Then he gets me home. It's time to go home, so we get home. And he walks me kindly up the stairs to my front door. And now I'm like, this is it. This is when I'm gonna find out if this man is for real, because his lips were beautiful. And I said, this is the time. This is the time. We're gonna find out about this. And he took my hand and he kissed me. I was like, what the hell is wrong with this brother? Are you serious? We went out to dinner. I waited 3 months for your behind, and you gonna kiss me on my hand? And he kissed me, and I said, can we do this? And I said, we can do this. And he left, and I got home, and I said, you know what? I'm glad that he didn't pursue anything else. So we had a conversation about that, and as we were speaking, I said, oh, that was such a beautiful date, but I was also looking and waiting for you to kind of, give me a little something, something. And he says, well, the reason why I didn't do that because I don't like you because of what I see. I'm attracted to you because of who you are inside. Now I was really confused. I was like, well, this brother, what planet you on, man? I'm really looking for a relationship, and you're just seeing way too much more than what I'm really seeing. But it was nice to hear that he wasn't just looking for this, which y'all can see right now is I got it going on, And I said, okay, let's take it easy. Let's take time. And we had many conversations of what it was like to be in a relationship, and how important it was for him to. Let's take our time. I like you, but let's wait and see what happens. So the kiss on the hand was just kind of, he wanted to see how I was responding to that in a way that, are you just looking for sex, or you just looking for that one night stand, or are we going to have an eternal relationship that we can learn more of each other in a very subtle way? So after that, it took us some time before we started, eventually getting more deeper into the relationship. Then it gets to the point where he's starting to use the love word, because now we're more than a couple of months in, and I get nervous about this L word, because I'm like, okay, I understand that you want to get into a relationship, but I'm not sure I even know what that means, because I'm not sure I know who I am yet, so I'm not ready for this L word. But the twist of the story is, before I met, and what's my husband's name? Before I met him, I was in a relationship, which was a long-distance relationship. Now, this young man was in the Army. So my mom said, okay, this is it for us. You got a man in uniform. This is going to be your husband. This is going to be it for you. This is looking great. And I was like, I'm not sure. We're going to wait on this. He was a chaplain in the Army. And we were writing letters back and forth to each other because we thought we were in love. And the letters stopped coming. I didn't know why. But eventually, after a couple months, I finally got a letter. I wrote a letter to him, and I says, what happened? Why have your letters stopped coming? I'm a little nervous. What's going on, sweetheart? And he says, I've got something that I need to share with you, and I'm not sure you're going to like this. And I says, break it to me easy. What's going on? Well, I was at a bar, and he was in France. You say France, I say France. It's okay. I still love you. He said, I was in France, and I was at a bar. And we were just having a couple of drinks. And I had too many drinks. And one thing led to another. I ended up with a woman, didn't know her name, didn't know who she was, but we did some things that I do regret. And at that point, I said, I'm done. And he goes, oh, that was, we can fix this. And I apologized, and I said, we are done. You just violated your rights. We are done. And it got to the point where he says, nope, your mother likes me because I'm a man in uniform. And I'm going to say, I said, go to Hell, because it's not happening. And he goes, oh, the love is too strong. We're going to do this. And I got really hurt, because long-distance relationships, it can either make you or break you. And after that had happened, I built up a wall, a defense wall, in terms of where I wanted to go from there. So when I said there was a twist, because of what happened with that relationship, I was a little bit nervous about Mark, because now he's coming, he's opening the doors for me and holding the chairs and pushing in the chairs, and I'm like, I'm not sure I want this. But he was being a kind man, because he loved not what he just saw, but he loved the internal me. And I was afraid of that, because he was respecting me for who I was as a woman. And I didn't know what to do and how to handle it. So what I did, here's another twist. I have a little sister that's much younger than I am. When he starts using the L word, I says, well, if he's going to love me the way he thinks he does, I'm going to tell him that I have a daughter. Let's see what he does now. Oh, yes, I did. So I said to him, so you're talking about meeting my parents? Guess what? There's something that I need to break to you, sweetie. And he goes, what is that? I says, I have daughter, and she's about 5. And I'm sorry, but this is who my life is, and she's with me, and I can't leave her with my parents. So if you're going to love me, you need to love her and accept her as well. And he looked at me and he says, I love you that much. She'll be mine too. And I was like, oh, hell no. And I says, okay, now this is becoming real. So he says, okay. So we continued our relationship, and we, had dates, and now it's time to come home. So my Mark says, now the fact that you told me about your daughter, our relationship is getting a little serious. I want to come and meet your parents. No problem. Let's do this. So he comes and he meets my parents. What did I forget to tell my parents? What did I forget? That I told Mark that I have a daughter. So he walks in the house, and here we are. My dad's there, my mom's there, and I greeted him at the door. Hi, honey, how are you? And he goes, great. And my little sister comes running out of nowhere. She goes, hi. And he goes, oh, is that your daughter? My dad said, what? And I held Mark's hand, and I was like, come on, baby, come on. You need to come and sit down. You need to come and sit down, come and sit down. So my dad said, whoa. What did she just say? I said, I don't know, Dad. He had a long day. I don't know what he's talking about. And I didn't know what to do, because here I am with this lie. So Mark looks at me and he goes, so she's not your daughter? And I said, no. And he goes, we'll talk about this later. And I said, I just shot myself in the foot. I just lost my Romeo. I'm screwed. And I said, okay. So after the meeting, we had a nice dinner. Then he left, and he called, and called me about an hour, and he says, you lied. And at that point, I was broken, because I was falling in love with him, but then I wasn't being the true me. And I said, I had to tell you that because I was scared. And he said, but if you're scared, all you had to do is tell me that you were scared. You didn't have to lie. And that's when I realized that I had to know who I was as an individual, and getting through life lying to someone that you care about is not going to have them care for you more than what you expect them to do. When you're meeting someone or you've met someone, be honest, be authentic. Because I couldn't carry out that lie. I was hiding behind that lie because I was scared to let go and love Mark for how he was loving me. So after that conversation, I says, well, you can decide, I'm sorry that I lied to you, and we can end the relationship, or we can pursue. You just tell me, and we can take it from there. And he says, I am not going to judge you for what you did, because I understand that you were scared. And one thing that I did, I had to then share with him the relationship that I had prior, and that's why I was scared. And he says, well, all you had to do was talk to me about that. But then this is someone new. And I said, bro, I'm not sure I could have talked to you, because I didn't trust you. I didn't trust myself, so I couldn't trust you. And he says, well, if we're going to be in a relationship, this is the time that I need you to trust me. If we're going to continue in our relationship, this is the time I need you to be honest. So that's when I realized that being the PK I was going back and forth because I was trying to live a lot, the perfect life of my parents. I was trying to find true love, but then I'm in the middle, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do this in terms of giving my inner self to someone that I didn't know. But anyway, fast forward, after 3 years, we got engaged. He forgave me. We got engaged. So now I'm really feeling great about this. We got engaged, and we got married. The first year of my marriage, I would say, we got married in May, June, July. By July, I was ready to be divorced. The reason being, I grew up with 2 brothers, and as the only girl in the house, my brothers were taught from my dad, we have women in this house. Every time you use the bathroom in the toilet, you put that toilet seat down. Respect your sister. Of course, I've got it made. I'm living with 2 brothers. My dad said, you put that toilet seat down. Get married to this young man, he doesn't put the toilet seat down. What the hell are you doing? So we're married, and now I'm like, okay, what's happening here? I called my dad, and I'm serious about this. I called my dad, and I said, Dad, I'm ready for a divorce. And he said, what? I said, Dad, he leaves the toilet seat up. He goes, get off the phone and go tell him to put the toilet seat down. I says, how do you do that, Dad? And he said, this is when you have to leave and cleave. you've got to figure these things out on your own. So there's two worlds coming together where I was bringing my world into Mark's world and telling him how to do things. Instead of saying, honey, I was brought up with my brothers putting the toilet seat down. Can you just do that for me and we can love one another in a deeper way, in a romantic way, and we can get through this? Instead of me doing that, I called Dad. And I was holding that in for a couple of months and I exploded. He could have really divorced me for that, but he didn't. And these were the kind of things that I had to learn, even being new in the marriage and learning that there's his world, my world. Single man, woman coming from a family that of four, and that's what we did. This is how my dad brought us up. You got to respect a young lady. This is how he was brought up. I'm just a man. I'm going to let my stuff go, and I'm going to walk out the room. But at least he washed his hands, so that was a good thing. And it was tough for us at first because, again, I had to understand who he was. When I was growing up in my family, when anything went wrong, we shut down from each other. We weren't vocal. We didn't articulate things too well. We weren't able to express. He's coming from a family of 10, the baby of 10, the first to be married, and anything happened in his family, everybody talked about it. It was like a conference you were going to. And I was like, you guys are weird. He goes, no, you're weird. And even that alone, he helped me to be able to articulate and express my feelings. And throughout the time that we were dating, he always gave me that affirmation of how beautiful I was, and always looking at me and saying, you're so beautiful. And the reason why he said he loved me when he first saw me on stage, he said, you had an infectious smile. And he says, when you were on stage and you just smiled at the audience, he said, you melted my heart. I said, baby, I did that, ooh. And he said, you just melted my heart. And I said, thank you. And you don't know the simple things that you're doing can attract someone else. So in a relationship, when I think about how God has used me in our relationship to keep it together, communication, trust, love, honesty. And like I said, in May, I'm going to be 25 years. It wasn't easy for the both of us, but we had to grow together. And for me, when I'm thinking about where we came from to where we are now, I think about Valentine's coming up, and he always, goes crazy. And I said, sweetie, it's not, and I always say, it's not about the tangible things that you can give someone. It's what are you giving of your heart? Why can't I just be authentic and say, oh, I just love the way you look today. You just put that nice tan shirt with that black sweater and them jeans and them white sneakers. That looks, yes, girl, looking good. Why can't we just do that instead of going out and getting a bunch of flowers that's going to die in a couple of hours? And you're spending so much money. Why can't we just love one another for who we are? Don't hide behind the chocolates. Don't hide behind the flowers. And I am so proud, and I'm going to put them under the bus. I have two beautiful girls that at times the dad would go out and just buy candy and flowers for them and tell them that he loves them. And I told them that they need to find a man soon because it gets expensive for us. So y'all better do what you want to do. And I'm excited because I'm hoping that the older one would get married soon so I can stop giving her stuff. And she's right there videotaping. So the union of our marriage we evolved together, two different worlds coming together and having beautiful children. And what I thrive on is being lovable to my husband. When there are days that I am down and there are days that I can't get through and don't know where to turn and who to talk to, I have him because we became friends before we became lovers. And that was important to us. That's why we were engaged for 3 years before we got married. He was able to see not just me, the physical body, but he was able to see who I was on the inside. And when you're dating someone, we can put on the makeup, ladies, and it looks good. We can put on the cat eye, and we can put on the eyelashes, and sometimes they do fall off and get embarrassed, and we can do all of that. But at the end of the day, do you know who you are? Are you okay with who you are and the beauty that you have inside? And the men that are looking for the young ladies, don't just look because the girl has a nice It's not about all that. It's about what does she have to offer from the inside? How does she value me? What do I look like to her in the middle of if I wake up in the morning and you saw me the first things, I look beautiful now. But if you see me in the morning, it's like, whoa, Miss Smiley, are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. I have my own teeth, but I'm serious. And if you can love me for who I am and what I look like before this happens, then we've got it made. So when you're thinking about relationships, don't think about what you see. Think about what you can get from inside. Because for me, that's what love is all about. Being authentic, being forthcoming in terms of sharing your intimate self, and that little man saying, I'm not sure of who I am yet, but he looks nice. I think he's nice, but I don't know who I am yet. And I had to deal with that. And it's nice when somebody can tell you who you are. We all think we know who we are right now in this room. But sometimes be around people that can tell you who you really are. What am I like? How would people perceive me? I did an exercise the other day. What do you want people to say when you die? I know that's kind of scary. We're talking about Valentine's Day. What the hell? But no, what would you want people to say about you? You know, what kind of person do you perceive when you're out with your friends? You know, is this for the facade, you know, that I've got it all together and da-da-da-da? No, is it this hookup culture that we want to be in because we want folks to know that, yes, I did that and da-da-da-da? Is it all about that? Or is it about finding someone that really cares? And when I was praying, and here's the PK piece. When I was praying to God and I said, God, I need someone in my life that's like my dad. You know why I said I want him to be like my dad? Because he loved my mom. And I saw that love, that unconditional love. So when I got someone like that, it was kind of scary, but I needed someone that was going to take care of me. Miss Smiley, the person that sometimes gets scared, sometimes gets vulnerable. And I needed someone to catch me when I fell. And someone to say that you're wrong when I think I'm right. Someone that's honest with me and allowing me to cry when I need to cry. And allowing and showing me who I am that sometimes I don't see. And it's nice that I have him as someone that I can turn around and say, thank you for making me the person that I am today. And I have to stay standing here. I wish he was here to hear this story. That I love him from my big toe up. And I'm only 5'1" without the heels, so I don't have far to go. But he has made me who I am today because of the unconditional love and the strongness that he has with me in terms of the love. And I know that it's not that, you know, you got that statement that was, oh, you're fake. It's not that fake love. He can hug me when I need it. There are times I come home in the afternoon and he just looks at me and I don't have to say anything. He said, put your bag down. And I'll put my bag down and he'll just embrace. You had a rough day? Yes, I did. Sometimes I lay on that shoulder. He's 5'9". I lay on that shoulder and I said, thank you, baby, for being there for me. When you find somebody that can look at you and love you for who you are, then that's what love is. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Everybody's getting excited. I want the flowers. I want the chocolate. I want this. I want that. Well, what about, are you okay with you? You want folks to give you stuff, but are you ready? Are you ready to give that agape love? Are you ready? Let the church say amen. Are you ready? Are you ready to give that inner person that you are? A lot of us are scared of that person within. And we're afraid to let others know, let others know who that real person on the inside is. Don't be afraid, because that's the person that you want to be dating, that's the person they need to see. And you can only fake it for so long. Because as I did, I tried with my little sister. And today she's grown and has children of herself. If I had told her that story, she would have been like, are you serious? You're a Christian. Why are you lying? And for me, lying didn't get me anywhere. It was important for me to realize that, no, this guy loves me and I need to stop and see who I am for being the individual that God has created me to be and love myself. And that was important for me to love myself first before I can turn around and love him for who he was. And to end it all, tangible gifts is not the road to happiness. Your inner peace and loving yourself is. Become friends before you become lovers. Respect, communicate, compliment each other. Share affirmations, honesty. God working in my life, helping me to realize that beauty is within, not what I look like. And my husband has given me that. And the scripture that I want to leave with you is 1 Corinthians 13:4-8. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It's not proud. It does not dishonor others. It does not self-seek. It does not easily get angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always preserves. True love doesn't happen right away. It's an ever-growing process. It develops after you've gone through many ups and downs, when you've suffered together, cried together, laughed together. That's what true love is all about. And my last quote from Martin Luther King is, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. So that's putting yourself out there and not realizing where you're going, but God always has a plan. And everyone that's watching me now, live stream, Snapchat, Facebook, you're going to be married one of these days. And you'll always, I want you to remember, in order to get to, if you're going to venture out into love, love yourself first. It starts with you. And when you can do that, then people will accept you for who you are. And that's my talk tonight.